Hello there, fellow NPCs. I am Carbon Scythe, and today is New Year's Eve. I think that's what you call it. We just call it Nyår, New Year in Swedish. And so I decided to make a little special thing, a little roundup for all of 2023. I decided to make a tier list of all the games that I've played so far. The only game that is not present here is Seed of Chaos, but I will be saving that for 2024 since I didn't really get into it before I decided to play other games. Anyway, here are my tier list, and I only have 12 games played so far during this year. Some of the games are not finished yet, College Kings and The Ladder, but they are so close to being finished that I do think I have a good grasp of where they go in the tier on the tier list. So yeah, let's get into it. And if you have any opinions of my tier list, if a game should be higher up, if lower it down, and shit like that, feel free to comment in the section down below. And I'm also going to make a little thing where you can tell me what games you want me to play for next year. So we will get to that later, but now let's get to the tier list. So I've already arranged all the games here in alphabetical order because I was preparing this list throughout the entire year, so I knew that some of the games are already top tier and some of them are bottom tier. We only have S through D because if I were to go all the way down to F, it would be really spread apart. So, in alphabetical order, we take them, and that means we start with acting lessons. This is a Dr. Pancake game. I was not completely impressed with it. It is very linear, more static of a visual novel. A lot of people said it's so absolutely great. It has a really impactful story. I will cry on screen while playing it. I was pretty much just hoping for the bad stuff to be worse, if you remember me playing that. But it is a good game, but it wasn't, I think maybe people hyped it up too much for me. But also, it really felt like a demo for the Dr. Pancake towards the public. See, this is what we can do with adult visual novels. This is just a small piece of what I can offer you. So I don't feel that that they put all of everything they had into this game. And so I can't put it at S tier, but I do believe I think B tier. It can really easily be bumped up to A, mainly because of what other games shows up at A and B and C. So if I see this game really deserves a B, but this is much worse than acting lessons, then acting lessons might be bumped up and things like that. Next on the list, we have another Dr. Pancake game, Being a Dick, Season 1 and 2. I haven't played Season 3 yet, and I will get to it soon enough. I did say originally that I wanted for the entirety of Season 3 to be completed before I start playing it, but it's going to be most likely another 6 months. So I am actually considering playing the first 2 episodes of Season 3 pretty soon. But this game is absolutely great, considering a lot of people are hacking on Dr. Pancake because they are pretty much ruining everything for themselves by doing this game completely alone. They are doing all the renders, all the storytelling, and everything that is part of the game. And a lot of people is really much against that. And a lot of people say that Dr. Pancake can't take criticism and things like that. But I don't want that to affect what the game is. Either positive or negative. Some people would say this is definitely S tier because this is one person doing it. I say this is not a lower tier, considering that only one person is doing it. Considering it's only one person making this game should be a low tier. One person shouldn't be able to pull off this much. Such a good game with all the writing, all the storytelling, all the renders. And that's something we will get into later, but some of the renders, some of the animations are really good in this game compared to some of the other games. And this game had me crying twice. If you know, you know. So yeah, it had me crying twice. I was even being so respectful that I got into the wrong love interest path and things like that. But I absolutely love this game. I am so much looking forward to getting back into it. And we will see exactly how I treat Yose and Maya. But I will put it as an S tier because, well, it is so very gripping. That's the thing with these games. Most of these games are just drama and nothing else, and therefore you don't expect them to be especially good. It's not Game of Thrones, it's not Avengers or anything like that. You don't need a lot of action for a game, for a story to be extremely good. This, however, is still really good, and it is just all about drama. So S tier for that. Next on the list, we have Coffee Talk 2. I have only posted the first episode so far, but I am still working on this project. I have 12 or 13, I don't remember right now, voice actors who's working with me to voice the entire game. And so my laptop can't really handle it. That's one of the reasons why it's taking such a long time. Hopefully it will be done pretty soon. But this game is honestly one of the reasons why I started this channel. I did start this channel mainly because I wanted to show everyone that AVNs are good games. But how do I do that? And that's why I started playing Coffee Talk 1. To show, hey, is this game any good? And it was so good. All you do is a barista at a coffee shop in Seattle with all of these fantasy creatures. And nothing really happens. You are just sitting there serving coffee and tea to everyone. But depending on what brews you're giving the different people, that will influence their moods and their actions in the future. And so you have a different kind of control of the visual novel. You can choose to give them the bad tea. You can give them the caffeinated drinks when they need to sleep and things like that, and they will just stay up, and their next visit will be complete crap and things like that. Coffee Talk 2 is the same with a few additional mechanics to it, and those additional mechanics, no, that is not that's pulling this game down for me. What's pulling this game down is that the original developer, passed away in cancer, and so I got the first game because it was a charity thing. They collect the money they collect from the first game goes to cancer research. The second game, with a completely new crew, with a bunch of new story writers and things like that, and they decided to make it an actual game, if that makes sense. They removed the soul of the game and made the game a game. In order to win this game, you need to do this, this, and this. The original game wasn't like that. Coffee Talk 1 was more about, hey, just welcome to my coffee, enjoy the drink, sit here, listen to us talk, have a nice evening, and let's talk about that elf and that succubi, how they're going to fix their relationship, you know? Also, watch out for the werewolf. Yeah. And one other thing that I did not enjoy is that they removed what is essentially the secondary protagonist in this game. In the first game, you are playing the barista. In the second game, you're still a barista. But in the first game, there was always one person that showed up every single day, Freya. And in the end, in the second game, because what you do in the end of the first game doesn't really affect the beginning of the second game. But in the second game, she is a successful writer and is now traveling away all around the world to gain inspiration. So the reason why we loved the first game, one of the reasons, is completely removed from the second game. I really hated that. And not only that, but the longest episode in Coffee Talk 1 was 20 minutes, I believe. Maybe 30 minutes. The longest part of Coffee Talk 2 was 1 hour, 20 minutes. So they were so focused that every single character needs to have their storyline, And that brings down the game for me. Very much, unfortunately. Still a good game, but I can't give it more than a C for that. Then we have College Kings 2. And I really don't like calling it College Kings 2. It should have like College King, because there is no clean separation between 1 and 2. I don't actually know why they are called 1 and 2. It should be Alpha and Beta or something like that to specify that they are not different successors, but more like different editions, patches, whatever, something like that. In College Kings 2, I've only played the Pool Party so far, and Pool Party Reworked. And the original Pool Party was, unfortunately, really bad. A lot of complaints about that game. And so after just a couple of months, they had to rework the entire game. And just a few months ago, they actually released the reworked edition. You know the story. The game was so bad with the story writing, with the different plot hooks, I guess. Well, the story in general wasn't good. We all know what happened. Sorry for me rambling and waffling on like this. But the reworked edition did receive a great upgrade. I will say that. It is a lot better than the original game. I didn't hate the first game, but I do see a lot of improvement. However, there's been a lot of annoying things in College Kings 2 Reworked. For example, I've seen at least twice that sentences, lines that people have said are simply missing. It's like, hey, I have a question. Let's not ask it and let's go to the next subject instead. They just skip the question right after saying, I have a question, for example. I don't like that. I even took it up with the developers. I'm interchangeably using developers and bug team. I don't know if they actually work like that, but the developers and the devs, and they didn't even answer that bug request of me. Hey, I saw this happen and it feels like there's a missing line here. Do you know if something is wrong? Didn't receive a notification for well over a week, and then I closed that report altogether. So that's unfortunate. They have been working on the missing music in during the actual pool party though, so they are working on it. They are working on it. But the fact that there are some bugs like that, and also that the renders are not that good. It is really like stick figures going back and forth. It looks really unnatural. It doesn't look good. Which is sad, because College Kings 2 have great looking models, I would say. They do look great. But because of that, and the fact that the game actually had to be reworked completely, I can't judge on back to basics, though. That is something I will take during 2024. But because of that, I will put it at C. Yeah. Digimon Survive. Now this was a game, a visual novel that I had been looking forward to for well over a year. I used to be a big, not Digimon fan, but anime and manga fan. I still watch and read eventually. But when I heard that they're going to take Digimon and turn it into a survival horror game, I knew that this was going to be great. I need to play this. So I got into everything Digimon just so that I could be prepared for this game. And I was let down quite a lot. First of all, the game is extremely long, and they talk about shit that doesn't add anything to the game, in my opinion. Because I'm going to assume this is because of Corona, but some of the voice acting seems to have been made at a different place as well. So sometimes it was really clear and crisp, and sometimes it was like they were talking behind a wall, and you couldn't really hear anything that they were saying. Things like that. It happened quite a lot, and I was so annoyed with it. But most of all, they were talking about things that didn't have anything to do with what was going on in the game.
I'll wait to see your golden smile, feel of 1,000
and it cost me, what was it, $50 or $60. And a lot of these games that I have on this list are much cheaper, much cheaper. So one of them is even for free, and you do not get bang for the buck here. But what you do get is amazing art. The visuals are absolutely stunning in this game. They even have, once you are done with the prologue of the game, they have a classical anime intro, which really pulls you into the game. You feel immersed. You feel that this is going to be a great game, only for it to let you down later on. That felt really sucky. I wanted to play this multiple times, but the game was so extremely long with so little substance that I haven't actually touched the game since I finished it. Even though it has absolutely stunning art, that's the only thing it has. And therefore, I can only give it a D. Yeah. I think that is the first D, but it might also be my last D, because there wasn't any game that was an actual disappointment, I believe. I don't know that for sure yet. And here we have now the free game that I mentioned. Find Love or Die Trying. This was part of my Valentine's Day special. I recorded all the episodes right away, and I then posted them all at the same time on Valentine's Day. That was a mistake. I was not big enough for anyone to actually see that, so those videos still don't have a lot of views. That's on me. And also, this game is almost entirely what was it? Static, which means that your choices don't really impact the story. It is a great story. It is interesting. It's kind of mysterious. It is worth playing considering that it's for free. I will say that it is worth playing if you want to have a different experience with a free visual novel. It's not top tier because of the fact that it is static. That is not what I'm looking for in a visual novel. I want to be able to change the outcome of the game. But the art is stunning. The characters are fun. The music, I love it. One of the best songs in this game actually showed up in Leap of Faith as well. And I just had the weirdest flashback when that happened. I just pretty much spaced out when I played Leap of Faith because I had a flashback to Find Love or Die Trying. It's a fun game. I enjoyed it. I will, however, only give it a B, I believe, because it wasn't... B is like... This is the gold standard. This is where everything should be. Everything above that is really good for some reason, and everything below that is lacking something. That's my opinion. Leap of Faith. Oh, I'm stupid. Huh. I knew that. I already did it twice today, but I mixed up Leap of Faith and acting lessons. Acting lessons was very narrative, very static, but people said I would be crying during Leap of Faith, not acting lessons. People were, however, kind of making fun of me because of who I was interested in, and I enjoyed it. It was great fun. Finding out that the one character I liked, that is a tough cookie. That was not a good choice for me. But yeah, so my evaluation of acting lessons is still the same. But Leap of Faith, however, here is where people said I would be crying. And I was more like, yeah, I hope that the bad stuff that happens leads to the catastrophic end. I want the bad stuff to happen so that MC Kurt learns, understands that they are not invincible, that they are not here to save everyone. I wanted the bad stuff to happen. Because I really did not like the attitude of the main character. I also didn't like that the game had a lot of Easter eggs and loose threads that didn't connect anywhere. But generally, it was a great story. A lot of things that no other games have touched upon so far, with self-harm, with sexual abuse, drug use. There was drug use, right? I believe so. I don't remember. I think there was drug use in this game. But yeah, so it is a good game, but it wasn't... but it took itself too seriously at the same time as being not serious at all. So I am giving it either a high B or a low A. These two, I think they will go up here actually, like this. I'm still allowed to rearrange them. Then we have Monster Prom. The reason why I got this game was because it was cheap on Steam, essentially. It looked really cute, and it was LGBTQ plus friendly. And I thought, that is hilarious. A lot of these games are about a guy falling in love with a woman, and having sex with a lot of girls, you know, that stuff. So, when I saw LGBTQ plus friendly, I thought it would be still in... and not necessarily adult visual novel, but I thought it would be a visual novel that explores the non-hetero relationships. I think that is something that is kind of missing, and the few times when LGBTQ plus stuff is part of the game, it is very fetishized. And so I was really looking forward to it, because it looks so cute, so harmless, and all that stuff. The entire game is all about how you have a couple of days to find a date for prom. But that's also it. The entire game is all about how you find a date for prom, which is in just a few days. There is not a lot of storytelling here. It's a party game, something that you can finish in 30, 60 minutes, essentially. And you can gamify it. The game has rules, so you can crack the code. Kind of easily also, honestly. So it wasn't at all what I was looking for. But it's not a bad game. It is just a different game from what I was looking for. So therefore I am putting it at, let's see, is it better than College Kings and Coffee Talk? It's not better than Coffee Talk. It's not better than Coffee Talk, no. Huh. Ooh, now that's difficult. I'm leaving it there so far. Because you had a lot of things that I did not like. Now, My Pig Princess. I played this game for the 6th on the 6th of June, because that is Sweden's national holiday, National Day of Sweden. And this game is made by a Swedish furry artist. I'm a furry as well, and so I decided that this will be a great way to, great time to play a Swedish game. You are a farmer who has to teach the Princess Emily, the pig Princess Emily, about the human ways and things like that. Amazing art. This guy, the art is just amazing. When it comes to all of these games, I don't think I have chosen a single game. I haven't played a single game that actually looks bad, per se. But they are amazing to look at in different ways. And when it comes to furry art, this is one of the things you're looking for. That is simply, to put it simply, this is what you're looking for in a furry art. It is a very static game. Your choices don't really matter, not yet anyway, because I only played the demo, which is the first 2 chapters, I believe it was. And the guy who created the game is really nice. I had a small chat with him about the game. But let's see here. As I said, it's a narrative story. It's a static story. Not what I want. So I can't really put it at B. It doesn't belong on B. So I will put it at C here. Just because it's a storybook. And so your choices don't really matter. If that makes sense. Now, for the next game. Now this game, The Letter, is the visual novel I am playing currently, and I've been trying to get you all to watch this game series because this game is absolutely amazing. I have never watched a horror movie like this before in my life because I don't really enjoy horror, but The Letter just caught my eye when I saw it on Steam. I really thought that this is going to be a great game, and I need to know what's going to happen in this game. It's absolutely great, and we only stop there, right there, it will be S tier. But here's a few things. There are two things that I don't like about this game. That is that the chapters are extremely long, and I don't like how they are structured. And also, you can't go back on your choices. Usually you just press page up and go back and you can make another choice. You can't do that in this game. You can't do that, and that is a really important part of visual novels. That you can read the text, find out if that is what you want to do or not, and go back and change your mind. You can't do that in the letter. And also the chapters, as I said, I would prefer it if it went, instead of from person to person, it would be day to day to day, and you jump around between the different characters every day. So it's still a chronological order instead of a most important of order or something like that. I would have liked them for them to change how they do the chapters completely. But those two are really quite small, honestly. So it's still going to be an S tier. I can't take away the S tier from it. Next, we have The Suicide of Rachel Foster. Now, this is not a visual novel at all. This is just a click and point and click game, essentially, pretty much. Your parents have died, and you need to take care of the hotel that they own, that your father owned. I believe that's what it was. Thing is, it was really difficult. I was playing on my old laptop as well, not the one that I have now, but the one I had previously, which means that there wasn't a lot of things that worked in my favor, honestly. And because of that, I also misunderstood a lot of things. So that is not because of the game, but because of the equipment I was using. I really can't judge the game based on that. Now, can I? But one thing that I really found difficult was navigating throughout the hotel. Sure, it's supposed to be a hotel. It's supposed to be being lost is part of the mystery, essentially. But also, the fact that you had a run button, but you never had a use for it. Oh yeah, not only do you have a run button, but the keys for playing the game made absolutely no sense. I had to have a hand twice my size, essentially, in order to press two of the important buttons at the same time. That was really annoying. So the keyboard layout for the game was extremely unusable, and I couldn't change it either. I tried many times. But no, you had to play the game as it was. So a lot of going back and forth on the keyboard and things like that. But it was, however, a really interesting story. I was afraid of playing this game first because I decided to look into it before playing. And a lot of YouTubers, I never actually watched the videos, but a lot of YouTubers on the thumbnails was talking about how this glorified pedophilia. Now that is always a difficult topic to talk about. In reality, not a difficult topic at all. In media, that's a different thing. Because if you can't have that sort of content in a video game, or you don't have to portray it, but if you can't have those topics in a video game, then you shouldn't be able to have kidnapping, murder, and things like that as well. So I was kind of afraid of playing this game. But it is a great story, all things considered. But the controls were horrendous. And so I am actually going to put it at C tier. Honestly. A lot of C tiers here. But yeah, as I said, if I put it in more tiers, there wouldn't be anything on any other. Every tier would have one game each, basically. And last but not least, Tropicali. The visual novel / management game by User Anon. Yeah, that's their name. This was when I was confronted about this game, saying, "Hey, do you want to play this game?" by the developer's friend. I was really under the influence that the game was supposed to be a cool, a new visual novel, but honestly, this game is more of a management game, and so the visual novel part of it is secondary. in my opinion. And it's also very static. As I said, I don't like static visual novels. If I want a book, I can read a book, essentially, in the end. So as what you have in this game is a couple of different girls, and you choose which one do I want to go after. That's it. At the same time as you are managing a hotel, a resort. It was fun. The animations and the art, amazing. Honestly, it's not at all like the renders of some of these games, but it is still a great looking game with a different style, and that is. Some people are afraid of the uncanny valley. No, that's not how you say it. A lot of people want it to look very realistic, but some people, like me, kind of like it when it's not looking all too realistic, when it really emphasizes the fantasy object of it all. And it's not supposed to be perfect. It's supposed to be a game, a fantasy. So that's why I like the aesthetics of this game. But in the end, it's more of a management game, and not a visual novel, in my opinion. And you can't really do anything. You're only choosing which story you want to go after. And so I am putting it at C as well. With what this means is that I have only 2 games that were top of the line this year, and only 1 game that absolutely scraped the barrel. How many of these games have you played? Did I get anything wrong with this? This is completely subjective, I think the word is. When it's my opinion and my opinion alone, I could be dead wrong about all of this. Write your comments. What do you think about my listing here? Is there a game you would have preferred in a different bracket, different tier? And also, don't forget to tell me what game you want me to play for 2024. Thank you all for being here tonight. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, and I'll see you again next year. Goodbye, everyone.